The Zwinger, German, Dresdner Zwinger, is a palatial complex with gardens in Dresden, Germany. Designed by architect Matthäus Daniel Pöppelmann, it is one of the most important buildings of the Baroque period in Germany. Along with the Frauenkirche, the Zwinger is the most famous architectural monument of Dresden. The name Zwinger goes back to the name used in the Middle Ages for a fortress part between the outer and inner fortress walls. Even though the Zwinger no longer had a function corresponding to the name at the start of construction, the Zwinger was built in 1709 as an orangery and garden as well as a representative festival area. Its richly decorated pavilions and the galleries lined with balustrades, figures and vases testify to the splendor during the reign of Augustus the Strong, Elector of Saxony and elected King of Poland. In the original conception of the Elector, the Zwinger was the forecourt of a new castle that would take up the area between it and the Elbe. Therefore, the Zwinger remained undeveloped on the Elbe side, provisionally closed with a wall. The plans for a new castle were abandoned after the death of Augustus the Strong, and with the departure from the Baroque period, the Zwinger initially lost importance. It was only over a century later that the architect Gottfried Semper completed it with the Semper Gallery towards the Elbe. The Semper Gallery, opened in 1855, was one of the most important German museum projects of the 19th century and made it possible to expand the use of the Zwinger as a museum complex, which had grown under the influence of time since the 18th century. The bombing of Dresden on February 13 and 14, 1945 hit the Zwinger extensively and led to extensive destruction. Since the reconstruction in the 1950s and 1960s, the Gemälde Galerie Alte Meister, Old Masters Picture Gallery, the Dresden Porcelain Collection, Dresdner Porzellansammlung, and the Mathematische Physikalischer Salon, Royal Cabinet of Mathematical and Physical Instruments, have opened to the public. The original intended use as an orangery, garden and as a representative festival area has taken a back seat. The latter continues to be cultivated with the performance of music and theater events. The Zwinger covers an area on the northwestern edge of the Innere Altstadt, Inner Old Town, that is part of the historic heart of Dresden. It is located near other famous sites, including Dresden Castle and the Semperoper. The Zwinger is bounded by Sophienstrasse in the southeast, Postplatz in the south, Ostra Allee in the southwest, the Am Zwingerteich Road in the northwest, and Theater Square, Theaterplatz, in the east. Nearby buildings include the Dresden State Theater to the southwest, the Haus am Zwinger to the south, the Taschenberg Palais Hotel to the southeast, the west wing of the palace with its green vault to the east, the Altstädtische Hauptwache to the northeast, the Semper Opera to the north and the former royal stables to the northwest. Within view lie the Catholic Court Church and the Italian Village in Theater Square, the Wilsdruffer Kubus on Postplatz and the Duchess Garden with the remnants of the former Orangery building in the west. The terraced banks of the Elbe River are located 200 meters northeast of the Zwinger. The name Zwinger goes back to the common medieval German term for that part of a fortification between the outer and inner defensive walls, or outer ward. Archaeological evidence indicates that the construction of the first city wall took place in the last quarter of the 12th century. A documentary entry as Civitas in 1216 points to the existence of an enclosed Dresden fortification at that time. In 1427, during the Hussite Wars, work began on strengthening the city's defenses and they were enhanced by a second, outer, wall. That is all. Subscribe and post comments for future videos.